Thank you guys all for joining us today for our live learning session. I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Liam.
We'll be talking today about building a portfolio, kind of why they're important, and some of the simple options that are available to us online for constructing a portfolio. I'll start with the definition. A portfolio is a very useful tool for professionals to kind of express themselves and their projects in a resume format, but with a lot more personality and a lot more life to it. Professionals will often engage or will often create portfolios as a very thorough example of their body of work and are able to provide a good overview of who they are, what they've accomplished, with a lot of visual aid usually is accompanying in a portfolio to get that done. I'll be jumping into a couple of examples. This portfolio here represents or is belonging to a teacher. It explores a lot of his teaching philosophy, a lot of his beliefs, his goals, his career trajectory within teaching. This portfolio is helpful because it really kind of captures his personality as a teacher, makes it very obvious to clients or employers as to the kind of person he likes to present himself as, especially in such a people-forward position as teaching. This portfolio is very important for really expressing himself in this way, in addition to his accolades and his credits. Some other values of the other value of a portfolio is you can really explore a lot of more design-oriented work, such as in the case of this prominent designer whose high-end portfolio explores a great deal of his body of work as he rolls through. I thought this portfolio was especially interesting to share with you guys because it is the higher end of very intricate and personable portfolios that you can explore, as well as this designer's work and what he's done. There are three main platforms that we're going to discuss today with regards to portfolios and how they are and how they can make portfolio construction relatively easy. We'll be looking at Microsoft Sway, which is hosted through Microsoft. You have access to it through your ASU account as well. We'll be looking at Adobe Spark. Same issue, same deal. ASU provides access to that with your student membership. And Liam will talk us through a demo now of some of the ways that you can construct a portfolio using these platforms.
Alrighty, so today what I'd like to do is kind of walk through what motions and practices you might like to go through if you are building your own portfolio. Now, the biggest thing you can do for yourself, regardless of whether or not you're making a presentation or a portfolio or a resume, in my opinion, is having a really solid outline. So I've used an app called Notion here, which we're not going to focus too much about. You can use whatever you'd like, whether it's a Word doc or the Notes app on your phone even. But what I've done here is I've kind of picked out some big bullet points that are meaningful to me and in my industry. So for instance, I've got my mission statement. For background, I am an engineering major. I'm about to graduate here pretty soon. So some things that I might want to talk about are my education history, showing that at some point very soon I will have a degree, maybe some applicable courses that I've taken in terms of, hey, I can do database management, for instance. Some technical skills that I have, as well as some soft skills, my work history, the different things that I've done throughout there. And then a big thing for me would also be projects. So big projects that I've worked on that demonstrate my knowledge and all that. And then maybe some miscellaneous info that we might want down below that we might want to include somewhere. Now, I've done this outline, and I think this is a really great practice of going through and trying to list out all of the different things that you know and the different things that you've done. But again, this is where you tailor your portfolio and your information to around what you need, right? So for instance, if you're an education major, your mission statement might be a teaching philosophy. So those are things that you might want to keep in mind as you move forward. So as with some of the portfolios that we saw, there are myriad different ways to go about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create two different portfolios One is just going to be a broad overlook about me, some of my academic history and skills and work history. And then another specifically designated towards my projects, the projects that I've worked on. So first, this is an app, this is an online tool called Microsoft Sway that is available to you as an ASU student for free. And as we kind of scroll through here, it's kind of a mix of some of the other portfolios that we saw. Here is Arizona State University, the major, expected graduation, all the things that we saw up here in my outline. Skills and abilities, work experience. So I've got working for the IgnitED Labs here, working for General Motors. And so this is what I've got so far. Now notice all throughout here, here's a picture of me that I really like. Here's a picture that I took from an airplane. So I've used this portfolio as an opportunity to kind of broadcast my creativity and my style without just having, a wall of text like I would here or per se in a resume. So make sure you look at a portfolio not just as a tool to convey the information that might be pertinent to you, but also as an opportunity to also show who you are and put your creativity and style through so that others can kind of perceive that in a finite way. So as a quick demonstration for Microsoft Sway, now notice this learning session isn't specifically a technical, detailed overlook of how to use Sway or Spark, but we do have videos on our YouTube channel that you can check out, IgnitED Labs. But what today I'll go ahead and do, you might have noticed, so I've got my Teachers College and General Motors. So I'd like to go ahead and add another work experience here. So if I go ahead and click edit, we can go into Microsoft Sway's really intuitive design process here, where we have our storyline and our design. So the storyline is kind of where I put in the information that might be pertinent to me using heading cards, images, text cards, and things like that. And then we can go into the design and pick different styles and really kind of tweak it the way we might like it. If you don't like blue, don't use blue, use a different color. That's entirely up to you. And this is your place to make your portfolio your own. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll add another card here. Maybe we'll go another heading 2. So what I'd like to add here is lead community assistant. So kind of the format that I've been following so far, and I'll go ahead and snap those like that, is we have a heading card that will say Arizona University Housing. And I'll maybe go ahead and emphasize that just to show that that's a main point that we're talking about there. And then maybe let's go ahead and add an image. So you'll notice the images that are in my portfolio, they do take up a large amount of space. I really love photography. So all of the images in there I've actually taken. So if I go ahead and insert an image, I can choose from my device. And I've got a folder here full of images that I've kind of collected that I might like to talk about. So I think if I'm going to be talking about being a community assistant in a res hall, maybe a picture of the res hall might be a good addition there. So if I go ahead and close that out, see I've got my image of the res hall there. And then maybe I'll add some text just talking about the things that I worked on. So we'll go ahead and copy that. Now, Sway also gives you the option to choose emphasis. So we can have it as a subtle emphasis or a moderate emphasis. And I think moderate might work best here. Maybe go ahead and clean that up down the bottom. And you'll notice I've also got the position listed up top. So I'll go ahead and add that. So we'll go lead. Lead community assistant, and that was 2018 through May 2020. And then maybe to follow suit there, I'll go ahead and emphasize an accent. So now that I've gone ahead and added all this information, Arizona State University Housing, my image, and then the details of what I did there. Now, if I go back to design, you'll see it shows up here on its own page. Let me go ahead and maximize this window again. And it shows up just as all my other work experiences have. Although you might notice that here the image shows up above and the text shows below. Maybe I'd like to change maybe I'll go ahead and emphasize this as moderate. Yeah, there we go. So it shows up as larger. So I want my images to take up a big amount of space. And again, this is a great place for you to have lots of images, have diagrams, pictures, things that you like that kind of push along your story a little bit more. So that's Microsoft Sway. And what I've used it for here is talking about a lot of details, right? So I'm listing off a lot of information, like the courses that I've taken, my technical skills, what I've done. But we also have Adobe Spark, which is another really great tool that we can use to convey different types of information. So Adobe Spark is a little bit better for something like projects. So we'll notice here that I've got the same image here, my name, what I'm doing, and then my mission statement again, which takes its own place here. And then I've got some projects that I worked on. So I did a point cloud data analysis for General Motors. So I've got a nice picture of a point cloud here. And then I also built this autonomous race truck, which I have a nice picture of there. And notice I alternate it, so it's very clear as to which image goes to which project. But maybe I'd like to go ahead and add another project. I'm about to graduate and working on a senior project, so that might be a great thing to talk about. So here, we'll notice as we go out of the presentation view, I've got all of these plus symbols here. So I can go down below and add an entire new section. So what I'll continue to do is a split layout, and you'll notice it has an empty area over here and then add an image here. I can switch those if I'd like, but I think I'd like to go with the alternating pattern. So then if I go back to my outline, and notice again, having an outline will make this much easier to go about. Maybe I'll talk about my senior capstone project. So I'll go ahead and I'll add some text. So maybe the heading there, we'll go ahead and drop that big ol' piece of text there. And then maybe I'll add some more text below. And this time just add the bullet points that I talked about, much as the same as I did here. So I'll go ahead, hit the plus symbol, text, paste those in. Maybe clean that up a little bit. And again, a portfolio kind of differentiates itself from a resume in that you can be a lot more verbose. You can have images. You're not confined by space. So then maybe I'll add this picture of a slide that I used in Capstone. Now you notice that this is a pretty limited view here, but I do have a larger image. So what both Sway and Spark allow you to do is choose a focal point. So maybe I'd like the focal point to be on Python and Visual Studio here, because those are big tools that I use. So I'll change that and it moves just a little bit. So I can kind of tailor what my site specifically focuses on and what I think might be most important. So then if we go back out and hit present, or rather a preview, now I've got a website form of a portfolio here. Now again, Spark and Sway are both provided by Arizona State. So you have full access to these tools. And what they actually allow you to do is post these as actual web pages. So I can go into share and I can get anyone with a link, and then I can copy the link here and I can share these to others and they'll be able to view my portfolio that I've created. And then the same thing here with Spark, where I can share, publish and share a link where I can give that to others as well. And that might be a great thing to post on something like a LinkedIn page or anything like that, or even on a resume if you'd like to link to more information, have some images and really kind of reflect you and your style and all that, which are great reasons to build a portfolio. So that's it for our demo. As a final kind of piece of advice, what I would recommend is play around with them. Spend time, try different things out, move things around, try different images, and definitely try to make it your own, right? There are so many different ways to do a portfolio, and it's really a great opportunity for you to reflect who you are and represent yourself that way. So definitely play around with it, have lots of fun with it, and see what you can do. Have a good time trying to see where you can go there. So back to you, Jeffrey.
Thanks for tuning in for the learning session for this video. The Ignited Labs has additional videos on our YouTube and on our website going into detail as to how to construct and how to make use of the elements within Microsoft Sway and Adobe Spark. The links to those will be provided in the description of this video. Give us a like and follow on any sort of our social media, and have a great day.
Thank you.